back we come, part 2, I think. Yes, come on, concentrate. We've got to be on it. Right, I need to get this finished because, like I said, I've got a massive backlog. I've got bits all over the place. I've stowed most of it out of the way because I'm sick of just shifting stuff around. So what have we got left to do on this? I have had to re-bleed these. The back brake had a massive ton of air still in it, and I've actually gone to the way I used to do it with a syringe at both ends and just keep feeding it through. It was partly my fault. Well, it's obviously all of my fault, but I'd not orientated the caliper correctly to make sure all the air got out. I'm used to bleeding calipers where the air will naturally... the kind of way the bleed nipple is, it allows the design to allow air to go through without having to hang it. So not really paid attention to these and didn't realise actually that the curve was like that. The entry was there, the exit was there, and potentially there's air trapped at the top of there. So I've bled them out again. There's quite a lot of air came out. They are all right. The front brake's actually really good. It's rock solid, that. The back brake's still got a little bit of play in it, which is why I've hung it upside down. So this is actually a good tip. So if you have got a bit of a spongy brake, what you can do is orientate the bike so that the exit port of the caliper is directly at the top, so it's the highest point, and then the air will gravity bleed up to the top of the thing, and because the pump's in the open position, the air will then travel through the master cylinder and up into the reservoir. That's the theory. Works for motorbikes, works for mountain bikes, which is why when I used to hang my mountain bike upside down, I used to have all sorts of problems, because obviously got a bit of all the air that was in the reservoir would end up going into the from the brakes in. So if you're ever going to hang your disc brake bikes up, hang them up by the front wheel, don't hang them up by the back wheel, because for exactly that reason. So we can probably knock that off now anyway. I'm going to need to get it off because I need to get the wheel off for this next bit. So yeah, that's good and solid now. I reckon that's a winner. It does seem to take a couple of pumps to prime it, so there could still be a bit of air stuck in the thing, but it'll work its way through, I'm sure. I think we're fine with that. Let me just balance this up a bit better now. Lock that one off. So what have we got to do? Let's have a quick recap. So we've done the brakes. We're not going to do the bar tape. Wayne says he's going to do that himself. So all I've got to do now is reinstate the gears, put the chain on it, which I have waxed. It's partially broken in, so I've done the bit where you run it up and down on the piece of metal I've got out of there. It's like a I had to wait till it stopped raining as well. It's like a hanging basket iron thing that we've got a bell hanging on it for ringing for food and that. And you run it up and down on that, and it breaks off enough of it to get it on the bike, and then obviously it's going to need about 10 to 20 minutes worth of riding for it to knock all the stuff off on the outside and to fully loosen the chain up, but that should be good, he says. Right. Bring my Allen keys with me. I don't know if I showed these properly last time. So these are Ergostar Weir, German, not Chinesium. I've brought quality this time. Now these are normally about 45-50 quid. Dean Doherty, who does the tool repair videos, the Irish, I think he's Northern Ireland, fucking apologies, Mr. Doherty, because your knowledge of tools is absolutely fantastic. So I think he's Northern Ireland, but I could be wrong. It could be Dublin. But he uses these, and I'd seen him first. He never said anything about them. He just gets them out. He goes like that. He grabs it, puts it back in. I was just like, wow, where can I get one of them from? Not bothered about the tools. So I did a bit of digging. And then actually I found a video from a couple of years ago where he just got these and he was doing a demonstration on them, and actually says they're really good. Now, what I'd not thought about was the fact that because they are brightly coloured, you're never going to lose them. So, you know, if you put it down on the floor, you're going to see it, whereas you put a black Allen key down on the floor, you lose it, which is why nearly all of my Allen key sets have got one missing, right? Because there's always one that gets dropped or chucked somewhere and I can't see it. So these are brilliant, and also they don't fall out. So these are going to be part of the travelling toolkit when we go travelling. So quite pleased with them. Really good, and they got me out of a jam, as you remember, with the bleed thing. Right, so let's just cut these off. So this isn't a new chain. This was the chain that was on. It looked a bit minging. I give it lots and lots and lots of love, and I think it was borderline whether or not I could wax it, because there seemed to be a lot of contamination. But it's waxed. I've got wax here anyway that I'm trying to use up, because I think I'm going to go to the Silka wax next time, and I'm also going to buy some of them. They have their wax, which I don't think is much different to the wax I've got. It's got all the TPU and graphene additives and stuff like that. But what they've got is they've got a strip chip, they call it, or a strip block. And what it is, it's a block of wax, but it's got some chemicals in there, and they reckon that those chemicals can strip all the contaminants off a chain. Now, I won't put the chain in like it was with this, because it was minging. Wayne, for somebody who lectures everybody else about your bikes, your bike was minging this time. It's probably one of the worst cassettes I've put through the parts washer in ages. Sorry, the ultrasonic. But anyway, there you go. So it's my fault, because I should have taken it outside and cleaned it properly before we got it in, which was probably worse. Anyway, that's to go on. The cassette that I've just said was a steaming pile of muck. Let me just grab it all, because we need it up here anyway. And the strip split links. As you can see, it's come up really nice, which I think it's a 105. And I think BCR, or whoever they are, one of the other bike channels, said that he likes 105s because they're not just kind of an anodized finish. They are actually like a chrome finish, because it's a slightly heavier metal. So that's come up really nice. That's come up better than expected. I was very careful not to use the antioxidant stuff, because I know it does strip them off on Ultra parts. These went in, these were minging, especially this. That went and had about 3 rounds. Then I got the screwdriver in it and scraped it all out, and that's running really nice. So what we do need to do is we need to grease all that up and oil it up before it goes back on the bike. Same for that. So some of the good quality grease on there, some of the general purpose light oil on all the pivot points, and then we can, in fact I might even put normal grease on there. It doesn't need to be fancy grease. I might put some lithium grease rather than the red grease, or everybody else's green grease for some reason. The TPF grease, yeah, that's the good stuff. I don't think it needs it. I think the lithium grease will be fine for that, or even the just general purpose grease. So we'll get them on, get that on. What else do we need? We need 2 lots of them, and I'm down to my last one, so that's a bit, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that, but I'm not going to order any more tackle. Got way too much stuff in here, so we need to start thinning it down a bit, because a lot of it was bought as extra stock because I have it, and I'm moving off Shimano, and you wouldn't believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of Ice Tech brake pads, about £9 or £10 a pair. That's what I paid for them. They're a lot more than that normally. I've got 4 sets of rubber brake pads. I don't have any bikes with rubber brake pads on anymore, apart from the missus's bike. So I need to, yeah. Good news is when people bring, really good quality brakes to me now, instead of buying them a set of brake pads, I'm just going to buy the Ultegra shoes, or the 105 shoes, and then put the sliding component in. So they end up with an upgrade for the same price as it would have cost them for a set of brake pads like they've got. So we'll do it like that for them, because I like to be fair. What else have we got? Right, so they've got to go on. I've just got to check some of the cables are okay. I've got to cut some of them down because they're a bit scabby at the end. We've got to hope that the thingy goes through, or I'm going to be doing a feed-in exercise. I have got to clean that, which I will let you thingy. I've just got to hit it with some the caustic muck-off cleaner, the one that you use on the chains and stuff. I might give that a quick waz with the, let me just shift these because they're for another video that hopefully is going to happen. I've got a turbo trainer down there as well that needs fixing. It's another kicker, it's a kicker V2. It's got some issues and the bearings are gone, but I can't fix it until I've tested it because there's a question mark as to whether it's working. So there's no point in me putting about £15 worth of bearings in it, because they're not cheap bearings, because they're a specification bearing. And drive belt as well. If he needs a drive belt as well, that's another £10–15. You know, so it's like, I think it works out at about £40 for the service kit, and that's what I paid for them. God, waffle! Right, let's just clean that bit up there. I might run a bit round that wheel, or take it over to the sink and give it some love. I told you the idea of taking that off. I might still take it off and do it in the sink. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Breathe in. Oh, that's way too tight. Job's a good one. What is the gap between the front derailleur and the chainring on a Shimano derailleur. Ooh, I checked it, you heard me talking to it. Yeah, between 1 and 3 mil. That's 2 mil, so that's fine. If you don't believe me, that's the 2.5, that's the 2. Yep, so that fits. All good. So we can bump the chain on there now. Worst case scenario is I have to move it up a bit to make it 3 mil, but it looks okay. Right. Let's get the back wheel on next, because I need to just make sure that sanity check that derailleur's where it should be against the cassette. Boom! Right. God, we've got crap everywhere. Hey Mark, why don't you tidy up? What a good idea. I hate that thing. Right, don't need them yet, don't need them yet, don't need that yet. I do need that. I do need them. At least they're not Campagnolo, but that's another story. Watch the other video about Jerry's bike. You'll know why that's a big deal. Move that grease out of the way because I don't want it all over my thing. Right, so put a bit of normal shitty grease all over here. This stuff flows quite nicely in here, he says, while it doesn't. Doesn't need a massive amount of grease, it's just in case any grit gets in there, it's to stop it from chafing and keeps the shit out from between the things. I don't know as you do need to grease it, but everybody seems to grease them, so I haven't got a good reason for not doing it. I haven't got a good reason for doing it, so for the sake of a bit of grease, let's just because if I do it, I can't see it's going to make it any worse unless it does actually start forming a paste that it grinds into, but there shouldn't be that much kind of moving. Right, what we will do though is I will ram a bit in there just to add as a kind of a block to the derailleur, I definitely need some bigger syringes. Mind you, these might be the biggest ones. I'll be pissed off if they are, because I've just ordered a load more and they weren't cheap either. Ordered the biggest ones they do. Right. Right, where's the... So remember, you're looking for the big one. One of the gaps is bigger than the others. Make sure the writing is visible on the outside, and then you can't possibly go wrong. Having said that though, you can't possibly go wrong anyway, because you physically can't put them on the wrong way up. Turn this over, right into the top. Where's the big one? There's the big one. The new one's a nightmare because it's not that obvious which one's the index one, because it's two others. Right, there's a good example, that wouldn't fit. There you go. Because I've got it the wrong way up. And that one. It's because I flipped the rings over. No, that one's the right way. One more, nearly there. Right into the outside. Where's the big bugger? There it is. Right, these don't have rings. This is where you need to make sure you absolutely get them seated right, or you'll just end up stripping your threads out. Right. Ugh, fancy tool that for some reason doesn't fit some of the... Roll it backwards until you feel it click, and then screw it down. There we go. Try not to contaminate the gears, because obviously now it's going to be a waxed, which is why we had to decontaminate all of this. Get the other one out. I think we can lose that. Make a bit of room. It's a bit warm in here actually. Hey Siri, turn off the aircon. No, Siri's not going to do it. I know you couldn't, Siri. Alexa, turn off the aircon.
Okay.
Thanks, Alexa, you're brilliant. That's it. Right, that's ready to go on. Shall we bring you back over the other side? I'm so sick of me getting in the way. I'll put the camera over there, but now I still need to walk across here to pick it up. Right, so move that out of the way, make sure I get it in there. Brake pads have been cleaned several times, in case you're wondering. Oh yeah, that's nice. Nice and quiet as well. There's a little bit of drag, but nothing that we need to concern ourselves with. Right, that's that on. I just need to check. So again, there's no point me bringing you around. What I'm looking for is that jockey wheel is in line with that. And I'm kind of hoping that the wheel's straight. And the hanger's straight. Should be. I don't recall us having any problems with this one before we started with it. So what do we need to do first? Do we put the chain on first? Yeah, let's put the chain on. Right, so I think I've come to the conclusion, after many failed attempts at trying to work out what's the best way to do this, that that's still not it because I'm feeding it the wrong way. Feeding it the wrong way around. Yep, that's it, that's right. I don't know why I question myself, because I've screwed it up that many times, probably. Right, yeah, I've started getting into the habit of just threading it on the derailleur first this way, and then taking it over the chain, because it means I've got a lot more control over the chain as it goes past the frame. And I can lift it over the teeth and just drop it on nice. There you go. Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a pain up the backside. And then what I can do is I can pull that back against the ratchet. Now then, this is an interesting one. So there's no direction of travel on these, but it's a KMC, because I think we've had this before. This isn't the original chain. I don't think it is anyway. But let me... now, all the videos I've seen, they do not wax the quick link. Citing various reasons. One, that you won't get the quick link to go together. That's not strictly true, because what I did on the last one is I waxed the quick link. Was it easy to get it back together? Probably not, but it wasn't undoable. I could rub it and still leave wax on it. I'm just kind of, you go to the whole trouble of waxing it, and then one of the components, you don't bother. But I thought about it a bit more after that, and I thought, well, there's wax in the pivot point, which is where you want it, and there's wax on the outside of that link that it clips onto. Okay, there's no wax on the outside of it, so it's vulnerable there, but the rest of it's covered. But as you're knocking it off and getting the chain, so you'll see this bounce around a bit now as it's loosening off, and it'll jump, and it's jumping like it's doing now. That's because it's still got wax on. What you'll find is it'll start to smear wax across the top of that anyway, so it kind of doesn't really matter. for the sake of that. And if it does go a bit mangy, just stick another one on anyway. They're not very, well, actually the SRAM ones, it turns out, are bloody expensive. Right, that's got that on, so he's got about 20 minutes worth of running to get that in. It is going to be a bit of a bugger because it's not the easiest to get your chain and everything aligned with a newly waxed chain on. So I would recommend, if you're going to do a complete overhaul, clean everything up, wax your chain, then change your shifter cables, because that way you know that they're right and you're not going to have any problems. I've forgotten, I'll have to go and have a look in my price list for how much these are. I think they're £7 each for what I paid for them. I think they're a lot more now. Right, which one are we going to do first? This is the back one, so we'll do this one first. I guess I need to bring you round for this, don't I? Right, I will fetch you round. I'm getting a bit bad at this not recording business. So, right, what I was saying was I'd actually unpeeled the wrong bit and I need to pull that bit back. There's a trap door here. This is about the third time I think today already I've forgotten to press record, so we've probably lost about 15 minutes worth of my waffle. Priceless waffle. What I was saying was, there's a flipping chicken on my deck in there. Can you see that? Or is it hiding behind me? I think it's hiding. Just in case you don't believe me, there's a chicken there. It'll be shitting all over my decking. Right, which ones are we going to look at? That one. Get focus on my hand. Right, that's the little trap door. We're going to be coming out there. There's a little hole on this side, which I'm not going to show you because I can't be asked. You'll see it on the other one when we do the other one. Try not to drag this all over the floor. Just make sure that the end is sealed as well. Come on, focus, focus, focus. So you just wanted to make sure that that's sealed. So either it's been soldered or it's got a little bit of wax or glue on it. You have to feed this up, just be careful. You can see the hole where it's going to pop out. And hopefully it'll pop out. If it doesn't, just check that that is still in its neutral position. Right. So you have to feed it through across, but the actual bit that it clips into is actually angled down. So once you've got this in like this, you have to hold it down so it drops in. I will show you on the other side if I remember. Right, that's where it needs to be. Make sure that's in position now, because if you don't, it saves you a world of pain later. Right, this needs to go into there. And I'll tell you now, it's easier to do this now than, oh actually no, I nearly forgot, we've got to trim the end off that. So if we remember, I don't know if you can see that again, that's mullered. Can you see that? That's not going into the thing where it's supposed to do. We've got a bit of slack anyway, so it's fine. We're just gonna trim that off, and I'm gonna get crap all over my floor, and I'm gonna be really distressed about it. There you go, I've managed to catch it all. That's not gonna go in my foot, or more importantly, the dog's foot. That's a vet bill I don't want. Especially as both of them are past the sell-by dates. Ouch, that was my fingers. So just because I've crushed it, just needs to wang it apart, rejiggles all the wires back where they're supposed to be. You couldn't see any of that. Sorry, did I say you couldn't see any of that? It's okay, I've got the, what have I got going? There's some curling on. It's the Winter Olympics. Tell you one thing though, since I've not been at the company that I used to work for that used to have a lot to do with the Olympic Games, I'm actually more interested in them, weirdly. I think we're going to have to take that off anyway, because none of it's in the right place. So we will. There you go. I think that's the original giant tape on there as well. Right. Oh, there is still another one I've missed. Right. Some people will tell you that you put this in place before. There is absolutely no reason, and this is the best way to do it, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a little index lump on this bezel because it's one of the original cables that's from, I won't say from the factory because I don't recall them doing that, but it's not a Shimano, I don't think it's a Shimano cable, it's a Jaguar cable, so it may have been redone at some point. Right, I'm just putting that back on so that we can do the gears and make sure that they're where they are. And then that goes up there. So the gear cable goes to the back, the brake cable goes to the back, the gear cable goes to the front. And what you want to do is get it as close into there as possible. And then we need a bit of tape around it. So I need to go find me tape. Let's use up the old tape. Right. Right, so that one can go back and under, that one needs to go in front of it. So first thing to do is just get a really tight bind on this one here. Right, and then shove them in. Right. Actually, I'm wondering whether I can get the brake cable behind it. I don't think it matters, to be honest. I think that's a better fit when you do it like that. You do get a tighter line. Oops. I appear to have spun it. Oh no, we're not. We're going the wrong way round. God, waffle. Right. Yes, that's much better. So that one goes more towards the front. Don't lose your end like I've just done, or you're going to have to grab all your cables again. Right. What I will also do at this point is I will put the marker on for the end of where the tape needs to go to, and then we'll just measure that on the other side as well with a tape measure this time, not what I did with it last time because it was about as accurate as a kick in the teeth. Right, because we like old measurements, it is 2 1 3/8. So it is 2 3/8. Nope, that's moved. Let me just get rid of all the old tape. Right, just clean off that crap. So we've got that cable in place, so what we're looking to do now is feed this one down into that bottom hole there. So hopefully there's a liner in here. sounds like there's a liner in there. It doesn't sound like I'm... Might have spoken too quickly. Might have a little bunch in it. It does feel like it's a... No, it's one of those, is it? We've got a hole under there. Right, let's get it up. Problem is you can't see anything there, can you, because of the sun outside. So, well, that's just what it is, I'm afraid. Right, if I had to guess, I would say that's going to be a 2mm, unless it's a... Oh, well, there you go. What do I know? Right. Am I lucky? Yes, I am. I've got a couple of these screwdrivers, some of them flat, some of them are... I don't know why I've got flats in there, to be honest. Right. I think what we're going to do is leave this off and feed it. I think this is one of those that's in 2 parts, if I remember right. I've done one of these before. I can't remember, I think it was Barry's. They're in 2 parts and they're an absolute twat to get out. And you have to go in with a screwdriver and start prying. That's really not what you want to be doing. And the other thing is as well, I think one of them is connected to a cable that goes up there, so it's kind of really annoying. Right, I am wondering now whether or not the... No, that's definitely... I can hear it, it's well... Aha. So there isn't a complete thing. I do vaguely recall it now, but I think there is something on the end of here. I'm going to have to get the screwdriver in. Of course, I've chucked the screwdriver back in here, along with all the other things that have got the same coloured handle. Just careful with the paintwork. So it's this one that we need. And you can see there's a cable coming down, so it must have fed. It has fed through. So the problem is it's just not coming out of the bottom. So let's shove that back in again and see if we can just jiggle it. I think it's there. Yeah, there's no way to do it other than get this piece out, I don't think. So we're going to have to prise it out, and I do vaguely recall we had fun games like this last time, and I wasn't sure whether somebody had actually just cut it, but this is exactly the same. So this doesn't go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, see, I was out, but we haven't gone all the way. So we're just going to, it's kinked it as well now. It's not the end of the world, we'll probably be past that, and it's not a massive kink. I can pull that one out. Yeah, you need to be really careful about that, because that is a point of where it will catch. So what we're after is we're after sending this down that leg over there. See, it didn't feel like it was getting all the way down. Still not feeling like it's getting all the way down. Right. I don't know what it's getting stuck on. Right. Modern frames, eh? So a mental note in the future. Right. So we'll use one of these and see if I can magnetically size it down. Oh, that way just going to get it stuck, just for good measure. So you drop that on, it's got a little clasper in there, you tighten it up, hope for the best. Feed that in. Still hitting, oh, we're out. So it was actually that was hitting. Oh well, that wasn't what I thought I was going to have to do, but we'll call that a win, I think. If I can get this to right, that one's through now. Right, let's get her back down. So that's through, just got to make sure that these are all where they're supposed to be now, and that isn't. I'm now wondering whether I fed that in the wrong flipping hole. No, I can't have done. It must be the right hole. Can't be anything else, because that's in that one. That would have been the back brake. But the back brake goes in there, but the other back brake would have gone in there. Yeah, it's just not. I think that's it, it's gone in now. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Yeah, the big hole is for the brakes, that's for the gear cable, and that makes sense, yeah. All good. So pull that tight, take me gubbins off, and then I can bring you back round here. Pack it away before we lose it. I'll probably need it again in a minute though. For the other one, I don't think the other one's going to be as much of an issue. Right. Put that lot away, so we can say bye-bye to that. Shove this in. That's it. And there we go. Right, let's play guess which end goes where. I think that's the dirtiest one, so that's got to be the one that goes in there. Yep, I think that's right. Right. Just back that off a couple in case we over tighten it. And that one's good to, well, I'll thread it through there. It once. Because it's cracking telly this, isn't it? Off. 4. So just make sure that is pulled tight. It is going to, it's a new cable. We've just had all the things undone. I've cut a big lump off of that, so we know it's going to be a bit of an issue. What I do need to do is just trim that as well now before we start wrecking it and get an end on it. Ouch! Ate me finger again. Make use of the end that's here. Help! Why are you being so awkward? Right, hopefully that won't get in the way or do anything it's not supposed to do. Right, well, we might as well give it a go while we're here. Well, that was a resounding fail. So you see what I mean about there's that much tension and slack in all the cables. It's that's really loose again now, so we're going to have to slacken that off and pull it out because it's now jiggled itself around up there, he says. I think we will I don't think I'd got the cable wound all the way down. Do you know, I don't think I've had to do this many bites on a gear in bloody years. I'm normally pretty good with these. Right, we gained a few gears. Right, let me just see if I can work out what's wrong with it. Are we back? Right, I cracked it. Sorry, I just needed some time on my own and no waffle time. I'll tell you what it was now though. A combination of two things. When I tightened that up, that piece had shifted upwards. I think the cable was getting stuck in here. I still think that's too long, and that could do with moving because this bit doesn't move very much on these at all, right? And I think the higher up it goes, the more it pushes against that. The B screw was miles off, so if I'm looking at it now, to be honest, it could still, the B screw is the thing that alters the orientation and brings the top guide pulley I think that's the guide pulley, that's the tension pulley. The guide pulley is what controls the movement of the chain, essentially. And if it's too far away from the cassette, sorry, coughing in the thing, you get sluggish. So that combined with the fact that the cable wasn't moving through this, and I still might cut that down, was causing the problem. So there you go. And probably a little bit to do with the fact that the chain's still covered in flipping wax, which it's rapidly dropping off. So we'll just drop it about halfway down. That's shifting butte now. I can't really do the final adjustment on the B screw but you would not believe how many times I've had to adjust the B screw in the last year since I looked into how you're supposed to set it up. Because you kind of assume that the bikes, when they're built, to set up, starting to build up a nice layer of wax all over that bit there. So next thing to do is we've got to get the chain on there. So I might just kick you around a bit now so you've just got a better view of that. And then we will crack on with that. Right, so stick another one of these on. There's an argument I could have reused the rear one because it was only the end bit that was knackered, but to be honest, if you're going to do them, do both of them for £7. I know Wayne won't quibble over that. He's very much a just get it done. I want the bike to be right. If it was me on my bike, I might have reused the back one on the front because the front hardly gets used at all anyway. So that's kind of my mindset with that one. But same thing again. Can I be bothered to bring you around here to look at the funny little hole? I'm sure you've seen it all before. But again, feed it through from the side. You might not be able to see this. Out we go. Lift it up. So I think we just had a bit of a perfect storm with that one. It was a new cable. We've cut the end off that and it needed to bed into there. So every time I did it, I was kind of losing about 3 gears, which was starting to really get on my chuffing bits. We still managed to lose a cable though. What have I done? How have I lost a cable? Right, just bear with me while I find this. I'm not going to wander around. Hey, I bet you could see it, couldn't you? It's a drop down and fallen on the wheel. Right. Laughing your fucking heads off at me. Can stop swearing. It's got a bit of a pinch in it, that's not good. I'll try and maintain these because these are, I think these ends are definitely the originals that come with it. It's not very often you see them because most people have ripped them out not realising that they're a bit special. But they have a recess. They have like a filament pulley at the end that's designed to help you feed the cable through when you're putting a new one in, and they also have this index piece that fits into there. So hopefully that's a happy bunny now. Right, I was starting to get a bit worried on that other one that somebody had sold me a rate duffer. I've not cleared that out as well. No, it doesn't matter so much because we're going into there. I really don't want to cause another international... Oh, actually that has got a... No, it hasn't. Thought it had got a cap in it. All right. Right, where this comes out, who knows? I'm kind of hoping it comes out. Kind of hoping it comes out there. I'm not holding my breath, so to speak. We out? Yes! Look at that big glob of flipping snot on the end. That'll be what was stopping it. Feels a bit draggy as well, this cable, which isn't good. Right, this is my last chance to sort out any issues with the routing as well. So we've got to try and decide whether that goes. No, I'm going to have to undo this. So what I'm looking for, right, I'll try and keep this brief. What I'm trying to do is just make sure that when they're fastened down, nothing on here is going to cause a problem. So they're going to be all nicely tucked up, that's there. I think that needs to be behind that one there, possibly, but in front of that one. So I'm going to have to pull it all the way back through again. So I think it needs to be the other side of that one. And then I think everything's going to be happy. Yeah, that seems fine there. Hopefully now we've got that fluff out of the way. In fact, tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to trim the end off this cable. Right, I'll just go and do this in the bin so you can't see me, and I'll stick you a new battery in. Right, back again. Switched it to the other side. I've just trimmed the end off the cable. Help if I put the said cable back on. I've wallowed out the hole again, so I'm going to have to go through all the hassle of fitting this back in here. It's absolutely razzing it down, and I've got to go and take the van back in a minute to get it back in its hidey hole. So I'm going to have to leave you and love you and leave you in a minute. Oh, come on. You don't need to be this awkward. Right. There we go. Just check that we are. No, we weren't. Good job I checked. I don't feel very good that in there. I do not like these adjusters. I don't think they're S-Ram ones, but sorry, Shimano ones. Right, let me stick the wheel tightener back on. Just quick check that that's all a happy bunny. Or it will be when that's fastened back up there. Yeah, I think that's all good. Right, so I've now got this in here, just unslacking that off. Just checking on the routing on these, because it's not, I haven't done actually that many of these. I've done mine about 3 times, badly. And every time I seem to get the routing wrong, because it feels like you're always forcing it. But it's got to go under there and then round. And I think that's the mistake I usually make. I try not to get it under there, but we'll see now. That needs to go in through there. And then the idea is that that sits on there. I've slackened that off so this is wound round as far as it can. And you can usually tell if it's right because this sits against, yeah, so that sits there. So this comes around here, that goes under there like that. And that's all it needs to do. So hopefully that's tight enough. I'll just give it some snippy. And Managed to lose the flipping thing, though I suspect it might have been in a packet where I'd nicked one before. Don't worry though, I've got a ton of these things. It's another one of my pet hates, this, and this missing springs off quick release and valve caps. Kind of my bugbear, pet hates, whatever you want to call it. Right, so that should go under there. That's it. Cracked it. Yes, that's right, it tucks under there. Yeah, I think we've got it. And then we might just have to do some adjusting with that there. Right, let's see how far off we are with this one, because I'm really going to have to go in a minute. Right. Miles off. Right. Oh, these are Jaguar adjusters. I thought the Jaguar adjusters were usually better than this. So we're up anyway. Yeah, that's too slack. Right, fortunately though, we have an optional adjuster on here. So we're just going to wind that in. That should take off a fair bit of slack. If not, we'll I think that's good enough. Just wangle this one out a bit more. I think we're at the limit on that one. Don't think that'll go in anymore. Oh, it might do. There we go. Right. Let's just see how we are at the lower down in the range. Right, I'm just going to take it all the way up now and just check the B screw. Yep, that looks good. Yay, right, cool. Right then, where are we? That's all done, that's connected up, that's going, that's all connected up. I've just got to tidy these heads up. I have lined everything up. I will go over everything with a torque wrench before I send it back, because we've had that many things to pieces. These things are a pain up the backside. They're going to need some brake fettling. They might need some new hoods, but to be honest, they haven't got that many miles on them. There's not a mark on them. They really are in good shape, so quite pleased with them. They were a bit of a bargain, but hey ho. Right, and I think it was definitely the right thing to put the Ultegra on. Given that, we will just quickly check now that everything's happy there. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced about that one. I think that probably wants to go in front of those, so we might have to move that. Fortunately, we can do that. We can just undo that, quickly drop it round the front, and then that's not going to be in the way. I don't think, actually, I think it's probably better where it, or would it be? I don't know, I'm undecided with that one. I might try it both ways. I think that might be better coming up and over and under there. If it'll do it, I think it'll do it, because at the moment it's getting stuck behind there and it's putting a bit of a stretch on. But anyway, right, I think that's good. I think that's where we're done now. Obviously he's going to have to run it in to get to bed the chain in. I'll just drop it down onto the deer. Don't like leaving it on there. Everything else actually has gone really well. Definitely, like I said, definitely the right decision to stick the Ultegra on, not that. That's okay, doesn't appear to be catching. It's not going to catch his foot, I don't think. Just wing it down a bit. I think we'll be fine there. All good. Quite pleased with that. It's gone on nicely. Looks a lot better than it did when it came in, because it was a bit of a scruffy little bugger. But hey ho. So we'll cut that there. This is part 2. I've got a lot of shit ton of other stuff I've got to get done. I've got to get it done today or tonight, but I do need to get the bus back, so right, I need to cut there. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Really, really helpful if you do. Press the little like button at the bottom, send me comments, whatever, ask any questions. I don't mind answering questions. That's kind of what I do. I'm a coach, so I don't mind helping people, advising people. Like again, I'm not doing this because it's a business or anything. I'm doing this because it's mates. I'm fixing their bikes because I have skills and I see too much shit that goes through some of the bike shops locally to us that it's from laughable to dangerous. I mean, I remember, 2 years ago, somebody climbing up, we were going up Jackson Bridge, his flipping crank came off because they'd not bolted it on. And it wasn't like it was, you know, like the square taper ones. It was one of these. So, you know, you despair, you know. Anyway, right, enough ranting, enough waffle. Like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Job's a good one.